I'm Audrish. I'm an architect by profession. We officially became 42M in 2006. We just thought that it would be really nice if we can create a platform where everybody can come together, share their ideas and kind of, create stuff. So that is where we started from. And, it eventually so happened that three of us, Rudraksh, Priyanka and me, we ended up as 42M at the end. Over the years, what I've realized is that it's the requirement of the individual or the user which I think becomes or comes foremost in the whole scheme of things. We try and see that what else is possible in this. What if a drawing room was not a drawing room? And what if a living room was not a living room? And what else can that space be? The second thing that would go into is what is my firm's intent with that particular building. What we kind of end up doing is that we are constantly trying to be different from our last product. So yeah, we keep on kind of revisiting what our intent is as architects, and one of the most important things that I look at is passive solar architecture. How can you design a building that requires the least amount of energy to run? The perspective comes from that if I can design something which can make a house and its users comfortable without using any other forms of electricity. In a complex climate like India, where you've like peak summers, humidity, this, that, I think it's a success. The client essentially wanted an extension to his house, and he had a nice house, he was very comfortable in that house. So what was happening is that over time they realized that for, since the 2-3 generations were staying together, that for their parties and, for their sort of, even they wanted a sort of a separate space where they can kind of, just chill, hang around, that kind of stuff. The brief was essentially to create a more relaxed sort of a space which is detached from the house but part of the same property. Since it's a pool and an extension of a pool, so one of the things that we looked at was where do we place it, right? So if you look at the plot, it's essentially a rectilinear sort of a plot, and the main house which was already there on the site sits, almost bang in the front of the site, and behind that we had an open area. This is the forecourt almost of the house, where the main, the whole front piazza sort of a space almost, if I might say, and that's where all the public activities happen. So what we thought was that, okay, if we build right now, how would we build so that the existing sort of greenery doesn't get compromised, okay? And we have as much space as possible which is open green space on the ground. So what we did was, we kind of almost tucked the block in towards one side, and you come into a pool court. So it's almost like a pool court where there are two buildings that we created. One is the main that entertainment area, and on the other side, which is at right angles to it, we've got a gym block. So there's a gymnasium which looks onto the pool, there's a pool court, and the pool court, along the length of the pool, we've got this building here. And this building is the part which is opaque, or the structural part, is basically like it's almost like a shell, like a ring. And this part is completely transparent on both sides with glass. So it's a shell with glass on both sides, and what happens is that this visual is absolutely transparent, and behind that is the lawn. So if you're standing here from the pool, you can see the lawns through the building, and the shell is in this direction. The building, we kind of lifted it slightly, so it's kind of got a deck, and the building is kind of floating, because now this is where it became real fun. So we just kind of lifted it up slightly, and that has made a huge difference, because we've got the transparency going, but still this whole profile, you can completely see that profile against the light, and that creates like a really nice experience. We have kept the finishing absolutely raw, so that it's a completely exposed concrete building, and the finishing is absolutely in total kind of, we've taken it along with that, so there's no extra stuff that we've put as a layer on top of that. when we designed this shell structure, so it's a completely exposed concrete shell. Now, designing exposed concrete shells, the challenge that comes is the design mix of the concrete itself. So we had to, because there usually you get concrete mix designers who can come on board, but this project was way too small. So there were various batches that we worked with the mixers of concrete who were supplying concrete to us to get the first sort of batch which we approved that this is the design mix which is good for us. Secondly, if you look at the shell kind of, it's like a box with the edges filleted, and it kind of tilts to one side. While the concrete was getting poured, since the structure is like that, it was kind of, there was a lot of weight which was coming onto the formwork. So supporting that itself was a huge challenge. And if you look at this building, there are no columns, there are no beams, there's nothing. So it's completely designed like one frame, and the frame itself, by virtue of the way its structural system is, holds the structure in place, right? So and the good thing that we found was that we just put in, within this shell, we just put in two service blocks. So one is a small pantry and one is a small toilet, and that kind of gave us a little bit of relief to get the vertical loads down from the center. But being the in terms of light, we really wanted that sort of a slit of light to come in. So if you look at the edge there, though we have these vertical things going, we have a slit there. So basically it's only joined at two edges. One of the main challenges again that we faced was when we were looking at blinds. So that has been a huge exercise where we are looking at how maybe we use origami for an opening system, that how does it, like a fan, like a Japanese fan at the edge, how do we work that? The flooring is completely concrete, so achieving that again was like we time and again sampled it and polished it, but finally we managed to achieve a very nice finish on the floor as well.